This is what it looks like. The B-17 in the box. I pulled out right number 1 nacelle because I could feel the shaft of the motor moving back and forth. So I knew I needed to tighten that shaft up, and beyond that, hopefully it'll fire up. But you have the 4 motors and their nacelles, and the wing is the half is that long. Your elevator's right there. And pretty big. Anyway, so we'll start breaking some parts out, and then I'll fire up the video again. Here it is. B-17 from Hobby King as it comes from the box. I bought this one last year, been sitting on it, but 90-year-old workmate there, Uncle Fred, had his pick of the next project, and this is it. So here we go, the Hobby King B-17. You have your pretty large fuselage and the tail section over here, along with your electronics, 4 electronic speed controls, 4 of everything, and then counter-rotating propellers with your aluminum spar tube and plywood bracing that's going to go between the wing halves, which are a pretty good span. And then inset into those is our motor nacelles. Inner 2 with retracts. So we'll see how we do. And the next step, joining the wing halves with the aluminum joiner that links into the carbon fiber reinforcements running out through the wings. Already installed, fortunately, is the flap servos and the aileron servos. So we're going to check them out before we mount up our engine nacelles. Okay. It's gonna be big. Okay, just dry fitting the tail surfaces there. They're driven by 3 servos back there. And then over on the bench here is our wing assembly. Nacelles are mounted, servos are tested, retracts are tested. Now we wire it out, and there's all of our 4 ESCs, 4 of everything, counter-rotating props. So we're getting closer. Okay, next up, B-17 project. We got all the Y connectors in now, and so our ailerons, flaps are checked anyway, and retracts for that matter. Those are running in these journals here, and that's our quad splitter for our ESCs. That's our lead here, and that's these are pretty long. These are how they're supplied. The ESCs here with pretty long leads so that you get it up here in the cabin. everything runs in this journal here on both sides. So we're getting closer. If I didn't jerk you around too much. Everything checks out so far and lining up pretty well. Pretty well made kit. It's Hobby King. Got it from Hobby King, but it's actually a Freewing build. And it's really a good one, really. It comes with its wrenches and hardware. Even a little driver. All the pieces you need. There's our rigging so far. Flaps, retracts, ailerons, and the wing there. Alright. Alright, next step in the B-17 is the electronic speed controls. And they hook up here. And they're going to run down this journal with everything else and then be covered up. We're going to leave it exposed here because I've got to make sure the motors turn in a counter-rotating fashion so that the props can turn the right way. But there's all of our wiring under here. There's our 4 ESCs. And our rigging. So we're wiring out the main brain here. Getting closer. Okay, next phase in the B-17 build. We're wired up. Now these connections that are going to be sealed up in that journal will be taped off for security. But the ESCs are wired up. And they follow this track here to each motor. On this side, of course, obviously. Also. And come up into the fuselage here. 4 ESCs there. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of our hookups so far into the wing. That would be your ailerons, flaps, retracts into our little tiny Futaba receiver by comparison to all that mass, but working pretty good. Let's see, ailerons, right on, flaps, channel 6. Be able to dial those in. I'll probably adjust an endpoint so I don't stall them out. And retracts. Love it. Look at those. Metal strut retracts. Right on. Okay. So far, right on the money. And more to the point. Yep. Counter-rotating. I think we'll have plenty. Okay, get her sealed up now, taped off and then sealed up, and then your major assembly. Okay. All right. Wing assembly pretty much complete now. We're just waiting for the sealant to dry on the covers here. Makes it nice and smooth. This stuff dries clear, fortunately. But that covers up all that cabling up underneath. Retracts test. Clears fine. Excellent. Okay. And flaps around 6. and ailerons. So far I'm liking how this is sounding. Alright, decided since I was building it, might as well go full tilt, so got it all buttoned up underneath there and clean, and still tweaking the retracts anyway. Hopefully they won't be problematic, but I just couldn't resist and added a Bombay. I'm getting a dead band when I close it tight. There we go. Okay. Anyway, yeah, my gosh, we're about ready to mate it up with the fuselage. Flaps, yeah. Ailerons. Good to be clear. Okay, there's the props. Here's our props from the back. Right. Okay, next step. The wing assembly and fuselage are joined. The connectors from the rear portion of the fuselage are brought through the 3 servos back there. I went ahead and cut a Bombay, and I'm working out the throws on it. There's a whole lot going on up in there. That's right where the main spar tube runs and all the electronics come in. So that's a little busy right there, but making some, those are the rough cuts for the ventilation holes for the ESCs and the batteries. Didn't have facilities for that, and you always want to cool them off. But anyhow, suspension retracts. These things are pretty nifty. If the rest of it holds up, that should be that should be excellent. All right, let's see how we go next step. All right. The B-17's just about ready to leave the bench. Got all our pieces together, all the wiring straightened out. That's another story in itself. and the top off right now there with all the guts down below, but that's our cockpit, and you're gonna ride up in here, so I don't know, won't be very clear, but we'll check it out and give it a shot anyway. But the B-17, like I said, is about ready to leave the bench. Got our vent holes here and a large vent out back, and everything's working right, seemingly. Elevators. And rudder. Tail wheel. Right on. Landing gear. Flaps. And these are kind of my own design. They are skid plates. This. If the landing gear fails, doesn't lock, breaks, we come to a skid on this and save all the turrets and all the underside and live to fly again another day. That's the idea anyway. So. Okay, final assembly and CG check, and we're upright, and fuselage aligned, intact, and wiring run. That was a challenge in itself. Oh man, is there a lot of wiring? Look at this bugger. Okay, and that got in the way of the Bombay arms there a little bit, so I had to clean that up a little, but my gosh, we're down to the routing of the batteries. So that's how we sit, and that sits on via magnets. So, Ruby's B-17 with Bombay will soon take off. Couple finished things too, but that is a big honker, so I'll have to be on my game. Okay, B-17 outside the hangar. It's too snowy to fly yet, but we're doing systems checks. That prop blast is cold. Okay. Next step, maiden flight.